So I should caveat with an apology for the fact that I have the autistic need to over-explain myself. But I'm going to extend a little bit on what I mean by the term neurotypical and neurodiverse or neurodivergent, also known as neurospicy or neurosparkly. Within your this circle that is the spectrum, you have that band that goes around the middle that is neurotypicality. Now, typical just means those traits that are most commonly occurring within this particular subset of social dynamics. So you have that neurotypicality will actually look a little bit different because of cultural differences as well. There will be cultural differences which will change that neurotypicality diagnosis a little bit. The different cultures have different requirements upon eye contact, for example. So neurotypical means most commonly occurring within this societal spectrum. Outside of that, you've got the dialed up and dialed down on these particular traits. So hyper meaning too much of, hypo not enough of. So for example, if I was to just look at one of the autistic traits that is going to tell you whether or not somebody's on the autism part of that spectrum, you might look at sensory issues. So let's say whether or not you are particularly prone to smells and sounds. So some people are going to be sound sensitive, some people are going to be smell sensitive, taste, touch, etc. Now, if I'm going to look at myself, I'm quite sound sensitive. I am very hyper sensitive to sound. Other people, you might find that still on the autism spectrum, so neurotypical, here is kind of an sociological acceptable amount of coping with sound. I'm up here, I'm quite sensitive to sound, but down here is another group of autistics who are hyposensitive to sound, and that means they're sound seekers. They're going to be looking for noise, they're going to be wanting to make noise, they're going to be wanting you to make noise. They're sensory seeking for noise. Whereas I'm sensorily averse to noise. I generally don't like noise, particularly very complex noises, which means that I don't like an awful lot of music. I find that too complex, and I can't listen to a person while there's other music or there's other background noise. I find it very difficult to tell one thing from another. So that hopefully that gives you a little bit more idea of what I mean by this sort of typical range, as opposed to just being, typical.